The government continues to spearhead efforts across the country to bring relief to the over 6,000 residents who have been affected by flooding due to heavy rainfalls. Minister within the Ministry of Public Works, Honorable Deodat Indar, on Wednesday evening visited Region 3, where he distributed much-needed food and sanitation supplies to affected persons. Water in these communities has started to recede.
We prepared a relief package, and so we went to deliver those to the people, which includes, some food stuff, rice and flour and so on, oil and so on, and then we had some cleaning items.
The minister said 100 bags of chicken feed were also handed over to persons who rear livestock, and some 1,000 chicks would be donated on Saturday. These efforts are being supported by the private sector.
Every single item was donated by the private sector. In fact, the canter that we moved with and the drive in it was a private sector contribution to the relief. So kind-hearted citizens are donating, and we are just making sure that we channel that donation to the people that need it the most.
Residents of Purican Ithaca Village in Region 5 will also benefit from relief supplies. The Civil Defense Commission has dispatched additional relief items to Region 10 to bolster support at the 4 shelters established there for displaced residents. A total of 57 persons are currently being housed at the shelters set up at the Kokwani Primary School, the Kokwani Secondary School Hostel, Araraima Nursery School, and Hururu Community Center. The CDC, with support from the local government organs, will continue to monitor the situation and assist as needed. The Commission also on Thursday morning received 500 cots from the Caribbean Disaster Emergency Management Agency, SEDIMA. The cots arrived within 12 hours of the request being made. Director General of the CDC, Lieutenant Colonel Kester Craig, said the donation will ensure an adequate supply of cots should the need arise for additional shelters across the country.
We are pleased that we have some additional cots that will be used to establish for any additional shelter that is required in keeping with our flood response mechanism. As you're aware, we have already set up a total of 5 shelters, 1 in Region 9 and 4 in Region 10. We will be continuing to monitor the water levels in the other regions, and if the need arises for additional shelter, we now have cots that we can use to establish those shelters.
Lieutenant Colonel Craig noted that while the Commission has adequate resources at the moment, it is planning for any emergencies. Some of the cots would be dispatched to Region 10, where the flood waters remain high.
At the moment, we have adequate sleeping supplies, adequate mattresses, beds, etc. But we are planning ahead, looking at the increase and the continuous rainfall. We are planning ahead to ensure that we have supplies here before there's a deficiency. We don't want to wait until we have a deficiency and then start asking for supplies. Immediately, some of these cots will be dispatched to Region 10, Kokwani area, but then we'll have those the supplies in our warehouse for dispatch to other regions as the need arises.
The Disaster Response Agency has also dispatched a team with relief supplies to the Kuyuni-Mazaruni region, Region 7, where several villages remain inundated. The Ministry of Human Services and Social Security is also doing its part by ensuring that some of the most vulnerable groups are reached during this difficult period. The government of Guyana has, from the beginning of the rainy season and resultant floods, have been very involved in going out there and ensuring that people are safe and being cared for. The Ministry of Human Services is contributing to the wider governmental effort, which has been spearheaded by President Irfaan Ali and Prime Minister Mark Phillips. The ministry is working to prepare care packages which will contain items catering to babies and children, personal care and hygiene supplies for women and girls and the elderly. The team would first be traveling to Kokwani, which remains one of the most affected areas across the country. We will continue to expend every effort to assist families and persons hard hit by flooding, as their lives in many cases have been upturned and they have suffered immeasurable losses and serious damage to property and crops. It is these trying moments that must bring all Guyanese together to help and support each other, said Minister Pisod. Flooding was recorded in the Lower and Upper Pomeroon Region too. However, the regional administration has been responding by conducting emergency drainage and irrigation works and providing relief supplies to the affected residents. Regional Executive Officer Mr. Devanan Ramdat has been providing support to Karawab village, which has been severely affected.
Karawab is one of the Amerindian villages in our region that is severely affected by flood. Earlier, the residents would have raised some concerns. We believe at the level of the Regional Democratic Council that we need to come out, especially during these trying times, to engage residents in discussions and more so to have a clear understanding as to how the floods would have been negatively impacting on their lives. Many of them are farmers in this community, almost the entire population of over 150 residents, or families, sorry. Livestock farmers, we have about 10 of them, but more than 150 families who are farmers were affected. We brought in the representatives or officers, local officers here from NARI, from GLDA, our education officers, our AREO, environmental health assistant. On this trip also we've handed over some medical supplies and also some janitorial supplies that residents will be receiving.
In Region 6, where 2,800 persons have been affected, the Ministry of Agriculture continues to send relief supplies and provide support. In addition to deploying machines and equipment for drainage and irrigation, the Guyana Livestock Development Authority, GLDA, on Thursday distributed 70 bags of rice bran to livestock farmers in Ithaca and Blairmont, Region 5. At the same time, extension officers from the Guyana Rice Development Board have been conducting assessments on the acreage of rice lost in Region 6. Regional Executive Officer of Potaro Siparuni, Region 8, Mr. Peter Ramatar, said the situation there remains stable. However, he noted that the region has been unable to verify reports of flooding in the Pacaramas since access has been hampered by the rains.
We have not heard any alarming thing. We have not heard anything alarming that is a threat to people's lives or their property and so on. It does not mean that there is no threat, but as of now, it's not an immediate thing that to alarm.
Mr. Ramatar said regional officials have been in contact with central government and are pleased with the response.
There's been full cooperation. There is full, we have to be updating them on a regular basis as to what is going on. And as I said to you, they have indicated that there will be need for additional resources. But again, that will be dependent on the assessment and the assessment of what is immediately needed. And as you know, it's a countrywide issue. It's not like it's focused in one area. Mm-hmm. So there are areas, you're grappling with several areas at the same time. In fact, almost the whole country, we could say. So yes, I think that central government is doing all that it can at the moment, and it will do whatever has to be done. Positive of that. I have no doubt at all about that.
Heavy rain is expected to continue over the next few days. The National Weather Watch Center forecasts that regions 1 to 3 and 6 to 9 are likely to experience frequent rains throughout Thursday into Friday. Rainfall is anticipated to reach a height of 4 inches in regions 1 to 3, while other areas are likely to see moderate rainfall measuring up to 2.5 inches. Heavy winds during showers are also expected. The center advises that these conditions will likely lead to continued flooding in areas already underwater. Residents should continue to construct barriers to keep flood waters from entering their homes, turn off and disconnect electrical appliances. If advised to evacuate, do so immediately. Listen to the radio or television for weather information and alerts. Stay out of moving or still water. Persons are also urged to practice health measures, including ensuring safe water is used for drinking, cooking, washing, and other activities, sleep under mosquito nets or use repellents, keep food supplies away from floodwaters, and wash hands thoroughly. The CDC advises all residents to be cautious and report any flood impacts to their regional bodies or the CDC's National Emergency Operations Center on telephone numbers 226-1117 or 600-7500.